Hi everyone, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday with me, Laura, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make these little baby sandals. And these baby sandals are for age 0 to 6 months, and we're going to be using two different types of yarn. We're going to be using a chunky yarn to begin with, so that's a bulky yarn, and we're also going to be using a thinner yarn, so like a DK yarn or a light worsted yarn. You can use worsted yarn as well, worsted yarn as well if you want to. So we've got two different weight yarns we're going to be using, and I've chosen a sort of light browny colour for the base and a nice bright vibrant colour for the rest of the shoe. And with that we're going to be using two crochet hooks. Actually, we're going to be using a 4mm G crochet hook, and that's going to be for the thicker yarn at the base on the sole of the foot. And for the coloured yarn for the rest of the shoe we're going to be using a 3mm crochet hook, and if you don't have a 3mm, just use something near enough to that, so it doesn't have to be spot on. And you're also going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn tapestry needle as well. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so we're going to be starting with the base first. So we're going to take our thicker yarn, let's put that down there, our thicker yarn and our bigger crochet hook as well. And I'd like to apologise first of all if you see some strange colours on my hands, because I've been using some food colouring recently, just this morning, and it's kind of stained my fingers, so I do apologise for the crazy colours on my hand. It looks like it's come off the yarn but it hasn't. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our thicker yarn and we are going to, what are we going to do? We're going to chain 11 to begin. So we're going to do our little slip knot. You need to be using your 4mm hook with your chunky bulky yarn. So it's a yarn weight of 5. It's a yarn weight of 5. We're going to chain 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we've chained 11, and what we're going to do is we're going to work into our second chain from our hook. Now we don't count the loop on our hook. There's our first chain, there's our second, so the second one down. In there we're going to do 3 double crochet. Now this pattern's in US terminology, so in UK terminology that's going to be a treble. So we're going to yarn over, and in that second chain down we're going to put our hook in there. But what you want to do is to go under one bit of yarn. So if you have these V shapes on your chain, we're going under the left part of the V, and the reason for that is because we want to work into our chains again in the opposite direction, and just working under one bit of yarn helps you to see the chain on the second time round. So we're going to go into our second chain from hook, bring the yarn through and do a double crochet. So we're going to pull through 2, pull through 2, and we want 3 of those in the same chain. So we're going to yarn over again, go back into the same chain just under that one bit of yarn, do another double crochet, and we're going to do a third one in the same chain, all in that same chain. So you've got 3 double crochet in that second chain from your hook. It looks a little something like that. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet in the next 8 chains, which will take you up to your last chain. Okay, so 1 double crochet in the next 8 chains, and again when you go into your next chain make sure you're only going under that left side of the V, that one bit of yarn. Okay, we're just going to do 1 double crochet in there, 1 double crochet in the next 7 now, so next 7, so 1 in there, 1 in the next chain, 2, 1 double crochet in the next chain, 3, okay, so you can see we're moving along, 1 double crochet in the next chain, 4, 1 double crochet in the next chain, 5, 1 double crochet in the next chain, 6, 1 double crochet in the next chain, 7, then 1 double crochet in the next chain, 8. Okay, so we've done 1 double crochet in the next 8 stitches, the next 8 chains, and that should get you to your last chain. So you should have 1 chain left, and in there we're going to work 3 double crochet. So it's the same as this end, 3 double crochet. Again, just going onto that 1 bit of yarn. 3 double crochet, all in the same chain. Oh, I haven't gone through that properly. Oh, let's just go with it. See, I don't do it perfectly. 1, another one in the same chain, 2, and 1 more, 3. Okay, so we've got 3 double crochet in that last chain. So it should look a little something like that, and you can see because you've put so many in at the last one, it starts to turn clockwise. So you've got the right side facing you, it starts to turn clockwise. So as it moves around, we want to work back into our chains again on the opposite side, and because we only worked under 1 bit of yarn, it should be fairly easy to still see our chains like so. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So this first chain here, which was basically our last one, we're going to go back in there again and do 3 more double crochets. So effectively you end up with 6 in that same chain, but because it becomes our first chain when going back in the opposite direction. So go back into that same chain again as your last one and do 3 more double crochet. So you end up with 6 in there. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that becomes our first chain now. Then we need to find our next chain along. So let's move our little slip knot out the way. Next chain along, if you find it difficult to see, just find where the stitch after all those double crochets, those 3 double crochet, we got 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Find that one that's by itself and see where that's coming out, and you can see it's about there. So that's going to be our next chain along, and we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 8 chains, exactly the same as what we did this side. So put your hook into that next chain, so you can just pull out the yarn. You should see that chain hole there. It's a little bit small, that second one, because this one's become so big, but see where that double crochet is. Put your hook there, push, and it should find that second chain. Okay, bring the yarn through and do a double crochet. We're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 8. So that's our first one, 1. And I'm going to work this tail end in as well. So I'm just going to hold that as I go. Next chain along, 2. Okay, the next chain along, you see it there, just there, 3. Next one, 4. Next one, 5. Okay, see them going in there. There's the next one there, 6. And the next one, 7. These are all double crochets. 7, and the last double crochet, 8 is there. Then you should have 1 left. It can be a little bit hidden under these 3 double crochets, so just pop those out and you should see where those 3 double crochets are coming from. That's your last chain, and in there we're going to do 3 double crochets to match this end. So 3 double crochets in that last chain. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we've done exactly the same this side, and in total, starting from this one here all the way around in a circle, you should have 28 stitches in total. And what we're going to do now is we're going to work in the round. So we're going to go round and round instead of going backwards and forwards. So find that first double crochet that you did. It's going to be right on the top here, right on the top there. And in there we're going to do 1 single crochet. So in UK terminology that's a double crochet. So 1 single crochet in that first stitch. We're going under both bits of yarn now into the stitch as normal. We're not going to join the round or anything, we're literally just going to go straight into that next stitch and do a single crochet, just 1 single crochet in there. Then moving round to the next stitch, we're going to do 3 single crochet in this next stitch. So 3 single crochet in there, 1, go back into the same stitch, 2, back into the same stitch, 3. Okay, so you've got 3 single crochet in there. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay, 1 single crochet in the next 4. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2, a single crochet in the next stitch, 3, and a single crochet in the next stitch, 4. So 1 single crochet in the next 4. Then we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the next 2. Now a half double crochet in UK terminology is a half treble. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, do 1 half double crochet. So pull through all 3. And we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the next stitch as well. So we're just doing 1 half double crochet in the next 2. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 4. Okay, 1 double crochet in the next 4. So that's pull through 2, pull through 2, 1, next stitch a double crochet, 2, double crochet in the next stitch, 3, and a double crochet in the next stitch, 4. Okay, so 1 double crochet in the next 4. Then we're going to do 3 double crochet. Now we've got to the corner. We're going to do 3 double crochet in the next stitch. There's a fly buzzing around me. 3 double crochet in the next stitch. 1, back into the same stitch, 2, back into the same stitch, 3. Okay, so you've got 3 double crochet in there. Then we're going to do 2 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochet, 1 and another one in the same stitch. Okay, so we've got 2 in there. Then we're basically going to repeat those steps in reverse down the other side. So in the next stitch we do 2 double crochet, okay, 1 and 2, so doing it in reverse. Next stitch we do 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, all in the same stitch. Okay, 3 in there. Then we're going to do our 1 double crochet in the next 4. Okay, so 1 double crochet in the next 4. So double crochet in the next stitch, 1, next stitch 2, next stitch 3, and next stitch 4. Okay, so 1 double crochet in the next 4. Then we did 1 half double crochet in the next 2, so we're going to do that, half double crochet next 2, so there's our first one, next stitch for our second one. Okay, so there's our 1 half double crochet in the next 2. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4. So 1, next stitch, 2, next stitch, 3, next stitch, 4. And then we're going to do 3 single crochet in the next stitch. 3 single crochet in the next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. So 3 single crochet in that next stitch. And then what we're going to do is we are going to just slip stitch in the next stitch. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch to finish. Okay, so it should look a little something like that once you're finished. And you should have a stitch count of 38 now. You should have a stitch count of 38 in total. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cut our yarn. We're going to cut our yarn and put the rest of our yarn to the side. And we're just going to pull that loop through. But what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the coloured part of the sandal. So we're going to take our coloured yarn here and we're going to be using our smaller hook. So you want to put down your 4mm and pick up your 3mm or similar. And what we're going to do is we are going to count 8 stitches from this last stitch. First of all, let's tidy up this last stitch so it doesn't confuse us. So we're going to thread on the tail end, and this last stitch you slip stitched into there, we're just going to put our needle through there. It's the last stitch you worked into, and we're just going to pop that through so you can clearly still see the stitches like so. So that's just put that to the back for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to count 8 stitches from this last one here. This one we just sewn through and we slip stitched into. We're going to count 8 back from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you find that 8th stitch. I'm going to grab our hook and we're just going to put it in there. Okay, so let's just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 8 stitches from this one you slip stitched into. And we're going to bring it through. So once our hook's gone into that 8th stitch, we're going to bring it through the next stitch along, like so. And we're going to work some double crochet front post stitches. But to do that, it's easier than it sounds. Going to get our coloured yarn. I'm just going to wrap it around our hook and just hold it in place. And we're going to bring it through that stitch and out through the one we went into, that 8th stitch. I can't say that, 8th stitch. Like so. We're going to secure that with a little chain 1. So we're going to yarn over, just bring that through the loop to secure. Okay, then just pull that tail end, just keep it to the front like so. Then we're going to work a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go back into that 8th stitch that we went into first of all. So we're going to go back into that 8th stitch again from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and come through the next stitch along again, just like we did a minute ago. Okay, so we've gone into the 8th one again, come out through the next one. Then we're going to grab the yarn, so hook that yarn through the stitch and back round. And you should have 3 loops and just do a normal double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'll show you that again from scratch. So we count 8 stitches from the one we slip stitched through, so which is that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put our hook into number 8, just normally through the stitch as if you're working into it normally. Then we're going to bring it through, bring the hook through the next stitch along from the back, like so. So you're kind of hooking that stitch out, pushing it out. Then you're going to grab your yarn, your nice coloured thinner yarn, and we're going to bring that through that stitch we came out of and just round the back of that stitch through that 8th, coming out on that 8th stitch. Then we're going to secure that with a chain 1. So we yarn over, just bring it through the loop. Okay, secure that. Then we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go back into that 8th stitch there. Okay, go back into that 8th stitch, come out of the next stitch. Okay, so exactly the same. Then grab the yarn and bring it through around the back. You end up with 3 loops. I'm going to do a double crochet as normal. Pull through 2 and then pull through 2. Okay, and we're going to do 16 of these all the way around to the other side. And whenever we do one of them, we always put our hook in to the stitch we came out. So this one we came out of last time, so which would be our 7th stitch, we're going to go into that one this time, then out through the next one along. And do the same thing again, grab the yarn, pull it through around the back of that stitch, for 3 loops, do a double crochet. That's our second one. Then again we go in to the stitch we came out of, so we're always moving over, then come out of the next stitch which has no coloured yarn. Bring the yarn through, put it through and do a double crochet as normal. That's our third one. And again, next one, yarn over, go into the stitch we came out of last time and come out of the next one along. Okay, grab the yarn and pull it through, do a double crochet. There's our fourth one. And just keep doing that all the way around to the other side. You should have 16 in total. You can get a little bit more fiddly as you get to the corner because you've got this group of 3, but just find the stitches at the top. There's the one we came out of, so there's our next stitch along. I'm going to come out of there, do the same thing again, double crochet. Next one here, this is where we slip stitched into there, and there's the one we came out of, so we got a bit of a clump there. We need to make sure we go into the right one, so we go into the one we came out of and we're going to come out to the one we slip stitched, I think. I just pull that through. Yeah, if we pull that down we can see that goes to the front, so we know our next stitch is that one. There's our next stitch there, so that's the one we came out of. I'm going to come round to the one we slip stitched into. Don't worry too much if it gets a little bit complicated around this area. All you need to do is to make sure you have around 16 stitches and that they level up when you get to the other side. That's all you really need to worry about. You don't even really need to worry about your stitch count, so don't stress too much if it gets really complicated around here. Okay, so then I go in the one I came out of, come out the next one. Okay, how many have I got? I've lost count totally. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 so far. 9. 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, didn't do that one very well. The last one, 16. Okay. So all you need to make sure is, you don't even need to worry about your stitch count. I have 16. You just need to make sure they line up like so. If you start from the 8th stitch from the end, just work round to the other side till it's level, you should be fine. Now I've got 16 stitches. Then what I'm going to do is, we're not going to chain one or turn, we're not going to chain one before we turn, we're just literally going to turn our work. So just once you've done that last double crochet, we're just going to turn our work and work in the opposite direction. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to skip this first stitch, this stitch here. We're going to skip that and we're going to work a double crochet, so yarn over, into that second stitch. Okay, so you're going to skip that first one and you're going to work one double crochet all the way around to the other side. So for me, I'm going to end up with 15 double crochets because I skipped that first one. Okay, so just work them into the stitch as normal, going down to 2 bits of yarn. Okay, not even going to bother counting because our stitch count really is irrelevant. So just work one double crochet into each stitch around to the other side after skipping that first one. Okay, it's going up to the last two. Let's go into that last stitch. Okay, so when you get to the last stitch, you should have 15 double crochets now, if you're following me. We're going to do the same thing again. We're just going to turn our work straight away. We're going to skip that first stitch and work 1 double crochet into that second one. So the same as what we did on the last round. And we're going to work 1 double crochet in each stitch around to the other side after skipping that first one. Okay, so then I'm going to end up with 14 this time. It's coming up to the other side. Last stitch. Can be easy to miss. There's the last stitch. I've got a stitch count of 14 now. It should look a little something like this. You can see it coming together. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to turn our work again and skip that first stitch again, that first one there, skip that one, go into the second one, going onto 2 bits under that V, and do a single crochet this time, just 1 single crochet. We're going to do 1 single crochet all the way across. Okay, just 1 single crochet in each stitch across to the other side. And this pretty much finishes off the back. Then we're going to work on the colour going around the shoe, the sole. So there's our last one. My stitch count, I think it's gone down to about 13 now. So there we go. So that's the end of the back. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to work some slip stitches down the edge. Now we don't have proper stitches to work into, so we're just going to put our hook wherever it's convenient, and we're going to work about 4 slip stitches down the edge. So there's no stitches to work into, so literally just put your hook in anywhere, bring the yarn through and do a little slip stitch. You just want to work down to the base. So 1, you want to do about 4, 2, and try and do them close to the edge but not right on the edge, 3 and 4. So that gets you to the base. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work some slip stitches around the sole. So we want to find this stitch here, which is the next one. It's the one we went into, which was that 8th stitch around from the back. Do you remember when we first joined our colour? We want to put our hook into there, but we want to turn our shoe over. Okay, so you want to turn your shoe over so you're looking at the bottom, and then put your hook into that 8th stitch. So it's this one here where you first joined your colour, but you want to do it turned over. Okay, don't need to worry about too much which one you go in, to be honest. It's just going to be the one at the bottom of this edge. So just turn it over, put your hook in, grab the yarn from underneath and bring it straight through the loop on your hook to do a slip stitch. And you want to keep them quite loose, because if you pull these too tight it's going to distort the sole. We're going to work 1 slip stitch all the way around to the other side. So we go into the next stitch, there we go. So it's going for a little V, like so. And the yarn should be on the bottom, so we just bring that through, keep it loose, straight through the loop on our hook. So keep it nice, not too tight. And do 1 slip stitch all the way around with your shoe upside down. And what this does is it keeps your slip stitches on the bottom, and then you get this nice little coloured line on the top. And it's important to not pull this too tight. You just want to keep it the same tension as the shoe, as the sole. Otherwise it will pull up the shoe. And my doors are creaking in the wind. Have I gone through that one properly? No, I haven't gone through that stitch properly. Make sure you go through that stitch properly, through under both loops. Okay, so 1 slip stitch all the way around to the other side. You see what it's creating on the top, it's a nice little coloured line. And if you want to make this shoe slightly bigger, you can get away with chaining more at the beginning and following the same instructions. Just be careful, it's only going to work for so far until you have to change the design altogether. So it'll probably work up till, say, about 12 months, maybe even 2 years. But after that, you're probably going to have to start working on a different pattern, which I don't have at the moment because I haven't designed one. So there we go, just coming around to the other side, and you can see where the colour stops. So we're just going to keep going until we're in that stitch there where the colour begins, and that's where we're going to stop. Okay, so it looks a little something like that on the bottom, and on the top you've got just a line of colour. And you should be around the other side now, and what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch up to the top here, exactly the same as when we went down the other side. And again, we don't have stitches to work into, so we're going to have to do it as neatly as we can. And again, work about 4. So turning your shoe back the right way around, find the edge of the other side, just put your hook into anywhere and do it nice and neatly. A little slip stitch, 1. Just pushing it, I'm keeping it near the edge but not right on the edge. 2, 3, I want to end near the top, 3, 4, and then find that last stitch there, and just put your hook into there and slip stitch into there as well. This is our first proper stitch, like so. Okay, so it should look a little something like this now. Okay, should have slip stitched down the edge, turned it over and slip stitched all the way around, slip stitched up to this corner, this side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a little bit here. Now this will depend on which shoe you're making. Now both shoes are exactly the same pattern, the only difference is going to be where you're going to place the connection here. So this is going to be the which shoe? It's going to be the right foot. Yeah, it's going to be the right foot, so the big toe is going to be this side. But if you want to make the left shoe, you're going to have to connect it the other side here, where the big toe is going to be this side. So, but the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to chain, so we're making the left shoe at the moment, so we're going to chain 13 first. So depending on which shoe you're making, you'll either chain 13 first or chain 15 first. So I'm going to chain, if it's the left shoe, I'm going to chain 13 first. So 1, 2, move this out of the way, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the reason I chain less for the less first for the left foot, so if you can remember less first for the left foot and more for the right, is because of where we're positioning the connection. Now after you've chained 13 for the left foot, or chained 15 for the right foot, because here you have to chain more because you're going over to the other side, chain less here because we're going the same side. You want to look at your shoe and you want to find these 4 stitches at the top. See these 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you're working the right foot, you would put your hook in to that one on the left hand side. If you're working the left shoe, you're going to put it on the right hand side, which is the opposite. It's going to be confusing to remember, but hopefully you can follow along. Okay, so we're going to put it into there. I'm actually going to put it slightly over, actually the next stitch over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but I want to come out of that 4th one, so I'm going to move over slightly to the next stitch along. Okay, the 5th one round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put my hook into there. I want to make sure though that my yarn is that side first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going on the 5th one, come out on the 4th. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to grab my yarn bring it round, similar to what we were doing when we were joining the yarn here. And I'm going to bring that through my loop. Okay, so I'll show you that again without losing my stitch count. You've chained 13 for the left shoe. Count, find those 4 stitches at the end here. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go in on that 5th one first. Make sure your yarn's this side. Come out on the 4th one. Bring the yarn through and then bring it straight through the loop on your hook. Just do a little slip stitch. Okay, and that connects it that side. If you're going to connect it this side, we would chain 15 instead. So if we were making the other shoe, you would chain 15, 14, 15, because I've 13 already. Then you would find the 4 at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 stitches, and then we go in at the 4th one and come out the next one along, 5th one along instead, and do the same thing. Just grab the yarn, make sure the yarn is the other side before we go in, otherwise it gets complicated. So find the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we go in at the 4th and come out on the 5th, whereas this side we went in at the 5th and came out at the 4th. So it all depends on which direction you're going, you see. Bring the yarn through and then straight for the loop on your hook. And that would do it for the right shoe, like this one. Okay, but we're making the left shoe, so we want to chain only 13. So just unpick that and chaining 13. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're doing 13 instead of 15, and we find the 4 stitches on the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we go in at the 5th, come out on the 4th. Oh, I've done it again. Make sure your yarn is that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and the 4th. There we go. Bring that through and then straight through the loop on your hook. And once you've connected your first lot of chains, you then need to chain the opposite amount. So this time I'm going to chain 15 to get to this side, whereas if you made this shoe, the right shoe, you would chain 13. So for the right shoe, chain 15, then 13. For the left shoe, chain 13, then 15. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And all that's left to do is find the top of the other side, that proper stitch to work into. Put your hook in there, bring the yarn through, straight through the loop on your hook to do a slip stitch. And then we're done. We can just cut our yarn, pull the yarn through, and there we go. This is going to be the left shoe, and then all that's left to do is to hide all these tail ends. So to sew in your tail ends, what I do is you thread on your tail end to your yarn needle. I'm going to go back into the stitch that I went through. Just pull that nice and tight, turn it over, and then just sew as neatly as you can down about an inch or so, centimetre rather. Don't pull too tight, then just come back in the opposite direction. You may want to go back in the opposite direction again, but that should be sufficient, and then just trim down the excess. So I'm going to sew in all my other tail ends and I'll come back and show you the finished shoe. Okay, and there we go. There is our finished little sandal flip-flop. And so this is going to be the left shoe, the one we've just finished on camera, and the one I did earlier was the right shoe. And they're exactly the same pattern. All that's different is for the, I got that around the wrong way, that's right shoe, even though my left and my right. All you do for the right shoe is chain 15, connect, then chain 13. For the left shoe, chain 13, connect, then chain 15. Okay, so there we go, and I've got my little doll here to model. Let's see if we can get her to model these shoes. I think her feet are a little bit smaller. Here we go, come here Molly. And let's put these on Molly, shall we? It's my little girl's doll. Okay, so there we go, I've got my daughter's dolly Molly modelling the sandals, and as you can see they stay on pretty good. So obviously play it by ear on how comfortable these will be between the toes, but if you use a nice soft baby yarn then it should be really comfortable and cool. So there we go, so these fit up to 0 to 6 months, and I hope you managed to follow along. You can also, if you want to, embellish these with extra flowers and connect them to the straps to make them look even prettier if you want to. I've got plenty of flower tutorials, mini flower tutorials as well. If you want to go check out that whole playlist, I'll put a link in the description below. But until next week, I shall see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.